Got a big moment coming up here. Actually, right now I'm just chasing these threads. I've got a little bit of paint in the threads. It's not hard to clean them up. Just alrighty. Putting the first Dolly part in. Dolly part on. Yeah. What, not even a chuckle? I've been waiting a long time to use that line. There we go. Actually, I lied because I already put the cup on the underside of this for the coil spring locating cup. But you get the idea. It's a big moment for me. It's actually starting to put parts back on. And somewhere here, yeah. See, I've got a coffee can here that I drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom. And that's so I can take it in the sandblaster and I can sandblast some of this stuff. Not too aggressively, but I can clean it up without losing them in my blast media. Okay, the next thing I have to do is press that bushing out of the middle of this pivot. This is the, I forget if it's upper or lower, but anyway, it's the steering. So this is the kingpin, basically, and it pivots. And this is where the suspension goes up and down. So I need to push that bushing out of there and press a new one in. So that's what I'm going to do today. I've actually already did one because I didn't want to do the first one with everybody watching me. I had to practice first. A little cheating maybe, but at least I shouldn't embarrass myself. Okay. So I've got this pretty much set up. I've got this nice little set of, I'll just turn it around for a minute. There. Got that off of Amazon online, and it's got like every millimeter, all the way from 19 up to 65. So I've got all those discs to use for pressing bearings. Anyway, swing it around. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so what I've got here, you can see I've got an 18 and a 22, and the reason I put two of them on there, one acts as a pilot and keeps it centered, and the other one is going to push the bushing out. And the best I can come up with is a socket, and it's not going to be able to go all the way through with that, but I should be able to get most of the way out. I know it takes a lot of force. Like I said, a lot of force. That's normal. So now, let's see here. Okay, now this comes with the set, and I can push that down into there, and I'll pop it out the rest of the way. And my bushing is out. So now I'm going to go off to the bar salt tank for a minute and just clean everything out and clean a bit of grease out of the grease passage there, and I'll be right back. Okay. Everything's cleaned up, but I got to put a little bit of grease in here. And some grease on the new bushing too. Now, I have to be very careful of the alignment of this hole. It has to go exactly like that. Oh, now my hands are all covered in grease. Ugh. I have to get it. Okay, I think that looks good right there. Not very straight though. And that's it. The bushing is pressed in. Now, we're gonna spin you around here so we can have a real good look at the next. Okay, now I bought a reamer for this. See, when the bearing is first pressed in, the pin won't fit inside. The bearing has to be reamed to size. So I've got the reamer. It's an adjustable reamer, and I hope I can run it through in the first pass. I didn't I backed it off from when I did the last one, And I hope I picked a good starting point. And I can get through with first pass without having to back it off some more. Yeah, that's good. So now, I'll back this off a full turn. All these cutters are in kind of a tapered slot. So the more you move it this way, the bigger it expands. So I'm going basically one complete revolution each time, a little bit bigger each time, until I get up to the finished size. Put a little cutting oil in there. I might be able to chuck that in a drill, but I think I'll just keep cranking by hand. Full revolution. Even though I know it shouldn't be big enough yet, I'm going to, just test it. There she is. Probably could have gone a little less than a full turn, but anyway, it's still pretty good. And that's it. Okay, so I have put the rubber boot on and put a little bit of grease down inside there. Now I'll put some grease on the thread. I'll grease it afterwards with the through the grease fitting too, but Again, this side is reverse thread. Okay, back at it. Now first I'm going to put the pivot shaft in for the lower A-arm. Okay, I've slipped these arms on just loosely. There's a big washer that goes on the end. I thought I had that washer, a new one in the kit that I bought, but that wasn't for that. So a little delay while I sandblasted and painted up the washers. And I still have to let that dry, flip them over, and paint the other side. So it'll be a little bit before I can actually tighten that down. But I can go ahead and loosely put together the rest of it, I think. Once again, I had to go run and drill out the holes, and I'm betting I'll have to drill out the holes on those arms too. I should have done it right away. Well, we'll see. Now, my two coil springs here, they're close, but one of them is about 1/8 of an inch taller than the other. And I think that's probably from what they call bachelor lean. In other words, if you're not very often carrying a passenger, the car can get a little bit of a lean towards the driver's side. So I am going to just reverse them and hopefully that levels it out with my weight in it. Otherwise, I guess I'll have to go shopping for springs or pull the ones off of my donor car and see what I got. Now, I've got this right. These things have got, there's a flat washer, a spacer washer, and a cup washer. And the rubber seal snaps over the cup washer. I'll show you one in a minute. And I've got this in place. And with a little luck, and I didn't look to see if there's a specific direction this should be going in, but I'm going to go in from the front and see what happens. Uh-oh. Okay. It's going to be... We'll go through. Now this one should. Sometimes you just don't have enough hands. Bad idea, but it doesn't want to stay on there. Going a bit further. Getting close. Okay, I'm going to do this side now. I think I mentioned previously that other side that I put together, I'm going to have to take it apart. And I'll explain what I did in a bit. But, I'm going to go ahead and put this one together because I want to keep moving forward and it just feels better. So I'm going to put this one together and then I'm going to go over and take that one apart and redo it. So the first thing, I'm trying to up my game a little bit with the whole the video. And I hope I've got the settings right on the camera and I've got my lapel mic on and I hope that everything is coming through just fine. Now this pivot assembly or pivot rod, I guess, pivot pin. These ends, I think I showed you in one of the previous videos, some of them were just a little bit pitted. So I went ahead and I painted them as well with the POR 15 because it's a really hard, tough surface and it just smooths things out. And yeah, so I'm hoping that will be better. Okay, I chased most of the holes, and I think I did all of those ones, but I hadn't done these, so. Now, the way they describe to do this in the manual is to put these arms on and to make sure that you are centered on the two rubber bushings and that the arm is horizontal. So then there's a big washer that goes on it. And the nut and the yep. So I'm going to bring this up to horizontal. And it's pretty equal. I'm just going to have to I don't know if I can bring it around to the next hole or not. But I've got to have the hole lined up in the castle nut with the hole in the pin. And really got to go a long ways or I got to back it off. I don't think I have a choice. I'm going to have to back up. Okay, now I'm lined up. I can get a pin in there. And the arm is horizontal. It doesn't pivot on the pin. It's just the rubber itself that gives. So down or up, it's not moving on the shaft. It's just the rubber that's flexing, allowing it to move. That's the theory. Now, go ahead and put the other one on. Same way. I don't really like that these are as loose in here as they are. And I may end up changing these things out. I don't know. I've seen some people saying online that these ones don't last. There's a different type that you can use that's supposedly better. But I guess I'm going to find out. Okay. Now that looks about right. And the other one I did, that side doesn't look too bad, but this side is nowhere near equal. I haven't tightened it down yet, but I can't get it into position. And the reason I can't get it into position is because I went ahead and assembled it all loose, but to get the spring in, the spring now has a lot of force on it, and it's pushing down on the A-arm, and the force downwards on those bushings, I can't adjust it and get it in the right position. So I'm going to pull that apart. That might be an interesting process. But anyway, I'll carry on with the other side, and you'll see. Okay, so now what I want to do is to put this spring pad, spring base, in here, and hopefully that's not going to be too hard to do. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up. Basically, I've got the front end all together. The hubs, I didn't replace the bearings after all. In the manual, it warns that you can damage the hubs when you are changing out the bearings, and not to do it unless absolutely necessary. And I was struggling with that decision already because there's absolutely nothing wrong with the bearings that were in there. So I opted to leave the bearings in, and I cleaned them out very, very well with bar salt, brake clean, and then repacked them with grease. So they look and feel very, very good. So I'm not too worried there. I did change the seals in them. I don't want to risk getting grease on the brakes. Now, one other thing, I've kind of been inspecting things. I've got the rear differential all apart over here, but in examining this, I notice, I don't know how well it shows up, but there's some funny lines in here, and again over here. And it looks to me like a chunk has come right out of there and got welded back in again. So I'm not quite sure what that means, what kind of a failure it had to do that. If it was an impact or if something came apart inside in the past. So I've got to decide what I'm going to do there. I do have another differential outside on the parts car. And the one rear backing plate, I don't know how well you can see it there, but it's got a big chunk missing off of it. So, I mean, that's all kind of strange. It Looks like maybe it got skidded on the road and ground that off, in which case it would have meant that whole axle shaft would have had to come out for it to ride on the backing plate like that. Like the brake drum and everything would have had to have come off. So I'm not sure. Yeah, that weld may hold just fine, but I'm somewhat leery about it. So I might pull that other differential and pull it apart and just pick the best. Anyway, we'll get into that a little more in future videos. In the meantime, if you're enjoying the videos, then please like and subscribe and on back. And we'll keep working on Dolly, 1959 MGA Roadster. Thanks for watching.